This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update video for July 4th, 11:30 a.m. I hope everybody's having a safe and happy holiday weekend. Wanted to do a quick tropical update video. We have a couple of invests on the map at Hurricane City. This is from the front page. We have 95L invest in the Northern Gulf. That's probably not going to develop. I'll get to the details on that. And invest 96L labeled this morning in the Western Caribbean Sea. Elsewhere in the tropics, things are pretty quiet out there, but these two areas need to be watched, especially 96L. All right, here is the LSU water vapor loop, and let's zoom in on this and see what's going on here. The green areas indicate dry air. So right now we're looking at dry air that's almost shaped like a spear, actually. Dry air is just slicing through 95L out here. 95L is southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River by about 100 miles or so, and the system is just struggling due to that dry air and wind shear. We have a northerly wind shear, southerly wind shear, everything. It's just not very favorable at all out here in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. So 95L is probably not going to develop as it heads north toward the coast of Louisiana in the next day or so. But 96L down here is in a moist environment. There's no dry air. Notice there's no green areas near this out here. It has everything going for it to develop upper level support, light wind shear, very warm sea surface temperatures. Get to the details on this in just a minute. Out here we have a strong tropical wave near the Antilles out here, but look at all the dry air that's banging into this, and we also have an upper level low out here. So basically, if you add it all up and you put all the upper level swirls out in the Atlantic, you can pretty much say that anything east of the Greater Antilles does not have a shot at development right now. But we're looking at the Western Caribbean. In fact, several of the models are indicating that this wave, once it gets through the Caribbean, it gets into the Western Caribbean, could also develop similar to what they're expecting with 96L. So it looks like right now the main development areas are the Western Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, and the Atlantic is cut off for the moment due to upper level lows and troughs out there. Let's take a closer look at our system out here. Just east-northeast of the country of Honduras. Kind of let me give you a little drawing here where we're at with this last image. And here is the country of Honduras and Nicaragua down here in the lower left-hand corner. And up here is Jamaica over here. And where we believe the center is right in here. Usually I like to use the figure 8 description for a developing tropical wave. We have a blob here, and we have a blob here, and in between that blob is usually where the center is, and I usually like to call it a figure 8 pattern, and I believe that that's where the center is, and I think we can confirm that by some ship reports, and I'll show you those in just a minute. Alright, let's take a look at the climatological formation here for, actually this isn't the climatological, but the climatological map is almost identical to this, meaning that this is not unusual to happen this time of the year to have development in the Western Caribbean Sea and the Eastern Pacific over here and out northeast of Bermuda. What's unusual is to have a system in the Northern Gulf developing, but that's probably not going to develop, so the climatology is right on. But here's our formation potential right here in the Western Caribbean Sea. Now here's the heat potential map from a few days ago. This was when Alex was about to make landfall. This was on the 29th. Alex was already in the Gulf of Mexico here, heading towards Mexico. And you look at the heat content. Now these are temperatures 78 degrees or higher that are well below the surface of the ocean. And the darker the colors are here, like the oranges, are somewhere up to 300 feet below the surface of the ocean, where the temperature is 78 degrees. So very warm sea surface temperatures all throughout the Western Caribbean Sea and even in the Gulf of Mexico. Now again, this was when Alex was out there. Now let's go ahead in future. And things really haven't changed all that much. We have a little bit less oranges in the Western Caribbean Sea and a little bit less heat content, no yellows in the Western Gulf of Mexico, and that's because of Alex. The rainfall from Alex, the wave action kind of churned things up a little bit, but it really hasn't changed all that much. Now the heat potential has, but not the 78-degree isotherm temperatures, which are important for developing systems to tap into the warmer waters below the surface. So we still have very warm pockets of air here, right near where this system is trying to develop right now, 96L, and it's pretty decently warm still out here in the Western Gulf. Now where it's not warm, below the surface is up here in the northern Gulf, and we believe that might be because of all the oil sitting there, and it's blocking the sun from penetrating below the surface. So it's warm on the surface, but not very warm below the surface. And we also have an interesting little circle right here that's very cold. There's no temperatures below 78 degrees or above below the surface, right in this red circle. Now, why is that? Why is that one little circle like that there? Well, let's go ahead and to our next image. And this is called the sea height anomalies. And notice the circle is in the same exact place, this blue circle right there. And that indicates that this pocket of ocean right here is further away from the sun than, say, this area up here where it's red. And the ocean goes through ebbs and flows, up and down motions of the ocean is not perfectly flat. It just goes through dips, and some areas are closer to the sun and other areas, like all this area out here, all that's rising. The sea is closer to the sun. And out here the sea is lower, and it's further away from the sun. Plus you have the colder sea surface temperatures up here. But down here in the Caribbean you can see it's further away here, closer in here. But that's basically another reason why the temperature is warm or cool below the surface. Usually it's has mostly to do with tropical storms and hurricanes and wave action, but it also has to do with how close the ocean is to the sun. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, here is the upper level of flow of winds from the University of Wisconsin, and we see, like we had with Alex, a little bit of a high pressure ridge trying to establish itself over 96L, but it's off to the left, and the center is back in here somewhere, so we have a little bit of northerly wind shear over this system, but not a lot to disrupt it. So this should go ahead and develop slowly. Now, where's this thing going to go? The Canadian model has it going up towards here, and most of the other models, the NAM and GFS, well, GFS isn't really developing it much, which is reminiscent of Alex. And the other models, the Canadian and the NOGAPS and what's the other model slipping my mind right now? The European model, rather. The European model has it going in the same position as Alex went in. So somewhere in between these two lines here is basically where this is headed, and that's because of high pressure out here over the Atlantic that's continuing to steer everything this way. Pressures are the lowest over here in the western Gulf of Mexico, so that's where everything's going to head in the short term here. And they're still working out there in the Gulf of Mexico, getting close to the relief well, but they have a ways to go yet, and there's going to be some rough seas coming up here in the next few days with 96L also heading in the same place as Alex, so they might not get a whole heck of a lot done, but they're going to, at least as far as the cleanup is concerned. One more thing I wanted to show you. Actually, did I pull that up? Oh yeah, here we go. These are the current ships out in the area where 96L is, and I thought this was rather fascinating. The Overseas Martinez, which is right here, right near where the center of circulation is, they're reporting 10-foot seas and 10-11 millibar 24-knot winds out of the southeast right into the system. And what's interesting is on land here, on the northeast tip of Honduras, we have west winds at 3. So we believe that the center is somewhere in here near the Overseas Martinez. Now, you go further north, and Cap San Nicolas vessel, they're reporting 7-foot seas and east-southeast winds at 24 knots. So they're very close together, but one's showing southeast winds, the other one's showing east-southeast. So again, that confirms that we believe we have a center somewhere in this area right here, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. But these can be found on Jim's predictions for the week page. All right, well, that's about it for now. We'll continue to watch these two areas closely. You can too at Hurricane City. We'll be back with another update tomorrow on the situation. Have a safe holiday. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.